everybody.
Everybody.
Welcome to the God Works podcast. I'm here with Marya.
Hello.
I'm Garrett. And today we're going to be going over a topic of peace. The verse for today's podcast is John chapter 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. So Marya, tell us about peace. Tell us what was your job in which you had a framework to experience peace.
Thank you for your question, Garrett. As stated in the previous podcast, we have an orphanage due to the war in my country. We have an orphanage in Côte d'Ivoire, and I'm kind of the principal. Mm-hmm. I'm in charge of schools, health, food, staff that we hire to take care of the kids, to cook for them, make sure they sleep on time, So I'm kind of like, to say it all, the principal.
Yeah. So, what was your experience? How did you come to learn about peace in the midst of the orphanage, and I think you mentioned the war a little bit?
This question is so deep for me because it's really something that I've experienced. It's not a movie. Mm-hmm. Let me dive in. So, when we got the kids, it was right before the war. It was during the season of no peace. That's when there's no justice system. Anybody can do anyone. It's a no man's country. Yeah. And then the war started. And when the war started, we had to stay and get the doors locked, get all the security measures, make sure that the kids are in the one space. And at that time the kids were like 15 going to 75 kids. So wow. Getting them and. Whoa. At the point of time, I think the hardest thing was trying to keep them silent, mm-hmm. because we didn't want to draw the attention of the rebels. Mm-hmm. If they know that we have young girls, they might get crazy and get in. And we would hear about them going to our neighbor's house and killing and raping. Mm-hmm. Or it was a very difficult time, very, very hard. We just had to keep safe, and of course we didn't have much to eat during that time. Everything was closed, but we were just grateful to be alive, but not putting on the lights, just staying indoors, and obviously everyone was scared. Yeah. We will hear the kids go, kids sometimes they will forget about reality and go into one fantasy world. Yeah. And I could see that the kids will always look at me, they will see my parents, but because I was the one mostly with them, you could see that they will look at me as, as long as Tante Marya is here, we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had this responsibility on my shoulder, but I wasn't fine. But I had to have this front of, it's nothing. Right. They're not gonna come here. We're okay. Mm-hmm. But you have to be careful. You can't shout. You have to be quiet. Yeah. I remember one time, one of the little girls were playing with. She was on the floor playing with her doll, and because we were used to hearing gunshots all the time, at night, in the morning, all the time. We just stayed indoors for like a week once, and she was playing, and she heard the boom, and then she fainted. Like, we had to, we had to get her, put some water, wake her up, kind of. So just to say how hard it was.
Yeah. Wow. So was the war literally? I mean, you're saying that there was rebels, mm-hmm. in the city or place, mm-hmm. you live. Mm-hmm. What was there actual war going on there, or like? Was the war a couple miles away, or what was the layout?
We lived in the capital. There was war in the capital.
Oh wow.
So what will happen? You just pray for favor.
Yeah. Sometimes
they will see a house and it's beautiful, and then they're like, "Why is it beautiful? Let's destroy it." And then sometimes they will see a house that doesn't even. It's like they don't even see that there's a house, and they will leave that house and not do anything. You're just at the mercy of someone's weirdness. It just depends. It was just weird. Sometimes they would just go into a house and feel like raping. Sometimes they'll go to the house and be like, okay, you're my servant, you do this, you do that. It's like captives of war. And sometimes there were houses like our house. God has been merciful despite all the threat that we have received. They didn't touch us, but our neighbors got hurt. Wow. So we just because we didn't know the criteria of protection, we just had to rely on God. And that's when peace God gave us this passage. The kids came and they asked, Tanti, are you gonna? But when that girl, fainted, and it kept on. It was a they kept on, shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. I was so scared, and they saw that I was scared, so they were like holding my hand. Tanti, are we gonna die? Are we gonna die? Are we gonna die?
Wow. Jesus.
And then that's when I took this passage where it says, "Peace I leave with you, my own peace I give to you."
Wow.
The peace that Jesus had, that made him to sleep even in the midst of the storm, of a storm, like with all those wings, he slept comfortably.
Yeah.
That peace, he said, "My own peace I give it to you.
Wow.
Let not your heart be troubled." And then that's what I told the kids. And then we stood on that words, and the fact that I'm alive today, and I can tell you that the story is a result of what meditating on that passage brought to us. On our compound, we would see like the remains of bullets.
Wow.
But no stray bullets, nothing touched us, because God has just been merciful. And I learned also, number one, that peace is not the absence of trouble. When there's trouble, you can just count on God and on his peace. That is peace. So sometimes just confessing. I remember myself saying, every time the kids would go, they want to go party or they're scared, I'm like, say it, let not your heart be troubled.
Wow.
Peace I give to you. And we
Jesus.
even made the song, peace I live with you, let not your heart be troubled. Peace I give to you, my own peace I give to you, let not your heart be troubled.
Wow.
And then,
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So, take me back to that experience where you really feel like God highlighted peace for you. You said it was when you were with the kids and you were scared. Like, talk to me about that moment where you felt God actually speak to you of peace.
Because everything was dark. The electricity system gave up.
Wow.
Because there were nobody walking it. Nobody was, so everything was dark, and it reminded me, I think the darkness there reminded me of Jesus in the storm. And that's when I took my Bible and looked for that passage.
Wow.
That peace is, I felt like, when you watch movies, you always see that the storm, Jesus was on the sea and it was all dark.
Yeah.
So I could feel like Jesus could relate to that darkness that was all around, where everything was black and, shh, don't talk, and I felt like Jesus was dark, but maybe it was dark, where he was, but it was very windy and noisy, and we couldn't relate to that noise with the sounds of bullets and, stuff like that. But we stood on that. So peace, as I said, peace comes in the midst of trouble.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel, when we see peace, we think of peace, we think about a very beautiful beach where we're sitting and enjoying, but the real peace is what you feel when you're in trouble.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
peace.
I'm happy. Today I can say that there was a purpose.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm giving you this testimony is because I've experienced that.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, if someone had told me that I would talk about it during the moment of war, I would be saying, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, you were there before. Nothing can stop me.
Wow.
We go stronger, and the kids knew that, and we saw incredible miracles. Incredible miracles.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you guys so much for joining us here with the God Works podcast, here with Marya, telling her amazing stories about what she learned, peace in the war. So let this be an encouragement to you that in the midst of your trouble, in the midst of the craziness
your wars in your life,
of your wars, your spiritual wars, your physical wars, let it be a reminder that to find peace in Jesus. So we bless you, and we hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.